Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, we're talking Uncoupled. This is Season 1, Episode 5, or Chapter 5 as they call it. And I can't wait to dive in. I'm still very much enjoying the series. I'm dying to know what's going to happen. Like I've said in every episode, I go episode by episode. I watch one, and then I immediately have to get on and record. So here we are. Episode 5. And this is still the same day, by the way, that I'm recording all these because I can't stop watching the show. If you haven't jumped on it, well, I doubt that you're here listening. But if you haven't, go watch it. It's on Netflix. But let's dive in. Before we do check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. And you'll find my breakdowns of all kinds of stuff, like mostly Sex and the City stuff. And yeah, it really helps me out. Check that out. Okay, let's dive into this episode. Okay. So this one cracked me up right off the bat. I kind of, not complained, but I talked about how in the last episode, it just wasn't as funny as the other ones. Well, this one picked right back up with the funniness. I was cracking up. So Michael leaves the store, right? And as he's walking out, he's not paying attention. There's a hot guy out there not paying attention. What happens? They comedically bump into each other, drop all their stuff. They make eye contact, and then they immediately end up, I think that's the other guy's apartment. So they're smiling and picking stuff up. They're at this hot guy's apartment. They're hooking up on the couch. And, okay, P.S. warning here. This one is like all about the sex. So you're not going to want to listen to this in mixed company. If you have kids in the room, go ahead and send them out because we're going to talk for a second because this episode really made me laugh. Okay, here we go. Michael asks when they're hooking up about a condom. The hot guy says, "What? Nobody wears a condom." Oh my God. So Michael's like, "What are you talking about?" And the guy basically says, "You've been out of the dating game a long time. That's not a thing anymore." And Michael's like, "What?" He makes an Annie Hall joke. The guy is just, it totally flies over his head. He has no idea what he's talking about. He makes a quilt joke, if you know, you know. And again, the guy does not understand that either. And tells Michael that he is one bitter old queen. So the hookup is not successful, and that's that. Whew. So after this, we see Michael at lunch with Billy and Stanley. And I do love these scenes. It's, again, I think I just can't help but compare it to Sex and the City, but so much better. Or I should say so much better than and just like that. But they're meeting up. They're talking about their dating lives and what's going on, and he fills them in on the nightmare date that he just came on, or hookup that he just came off of. We find out that his dad is messaging Michael and trying to fix him up with his dermatologist. And when he asks his dad, like, "What? I thought you were rooting for Colin and I to be together," the dad said, "Even the greatest athlete knows when it's time to leave the field." So he's encouraging him to get out there and see somebody new. So the theme that comes up with his friends and then again comes up when he's in the office with Suzanne is that he's angry. He's coming in hot. He's got all this rage about, well, everything that happened between him and Colin and again the 17-year relationship and being dumped like that. So he's trying to work on his rage. There's a funny scene where he ends up yelling at his boss and Suzanne's like, "You have got to calm down." He says, "Colin dumped me into this dating world and I hate it. I hate it. I'm angry." And the anger is not going away. And again, I got to give this show a big applause because they're addressing real things that people go through. You know, like unwilling to accept it and the anger and typing out texts that you're not going to send and typing out texts that you do send, you know, that kind of thing. So I just find this one very well written and I'm really enjoying it. Well, Suzanne ends up convincing him to go see a healer. He goes that night, and of course, Michael is called up on stage. So he goes up on stage with this healer, and he thinks it's bullshit. The guy is being very weird and is snapping over and over in Michael's face. Michael keeps saying, "What's happening?" All I can think of is Karen from Will and Grace. What's happening? The healer explains basically this journey takes time. And he says, "Oh, and I'm guessing you have to buy a package," meaning like it's very rhymes with Scientology, or, you know, like how do you get to level 2? You know, that kind of thing. Do you have to pay your way? Anyway, snap, snap, snap in the face. Michael and Suzanne leave. They're pissed because nothing seems to have happened, appears to have happened, but the next morning he wakes up and he's happier than he's ever been. I mean, not that he's ever been, but he's very happy. He's smiling. He even sees a piece of mail for Colin and isn't immediately enraged by it. He goes in and he sees Stanley, gives him a hug, something he normally wouldn't do, and it's just in general happy and saying it's a beautiful day to be alive. So something happened with that healer. It helped him in some way. He says he was awake for 36 minutes before he thought of Colin. It's a miracle. He's a new subscriber to Psychology Today, Colin is, and it makes Michael feel sorry for him, saying he must be going through something. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see. He says it feels like a weight has been lifted. At that same time, the dermatologist his dad's trying to hook him up with starts messaging. He's not interested until he sees the picture. And can I just say, hello. He's a hot, hot dermatologist. I'm thinking of developing some sort of skin condition so I can go see this dermatologist. No, he's seriously good looking. They go out to dinner and they bond over not knowing how to navigate dating waters. You know, they're both over 40 and they seem to click. They even order all the desserts on the menu. It's a very cute date and I'm there for it. And I don't like how it goes down because I like the two of them together. So with Suzanne, they talk about how great the hot doctor was, how great the date was. Suzanne and Michael have this scene where they show how well they work together. We're seeing how good they are at these closings, how they can, it's not manipulate, but kind of manipulate, right? The other realtors and get things to close and get things to go how they want. They're really good at their jobs. Now, they're setting the seeds for something clearly. The big client that they have, of course, is Claire. They're hoping Claire's apartment will close. They're having to extend escrow instead of the traditional 30 days to like 45 days, something to do with finessing a co-op board. So we're definitely setting the scenes for it all to go to hell is where I'm guessing. I don't watch ahead. I don't like spoilers. I don't know, but I'm just guessing. Something's going to go bad, right? Because how many times in this episode did they mention that it all hinges on that big sale? And last episode, it was basically implying that Michael's kind of going broke because he needs a big sale, that sort of thing. But they close on a property that they're super psyched about. After this, we find out that he has another date with the hot dermatologist. And they're going to be going to an art exhibit. And this part really made me laugh. Okay, so they kept referring to the artist as Munch. I believe he's actually pronouncing it differently, but it's spelled as if it'd be Munch. And then he goes to the art exhibit. You guys, it's called Butt Munch. And it is, we'll just say, very graphic. Like, if you blush easy, you're not going to want to see this. But I don't know. Yeah, it's a bunch of, hot gay art. I don't know what to call it. I don't know. It's just very graphic. So it's a very 70s vibe, but they explain it as Berlin's premium gay periodical and Das Butt. That's what they're calling it. Meanwhile, back at Suzanne's house, we find out, so her son, her grown son, he's like 25. He lives with her. Obviously, they're very close. They climb in bed and watch TV and eat ice cream together. And I'm thinking, that's great. And she's realizing, oh God, that's the reason I'm still single. It's because her relationship is with her son, not in going out and finding a man. So she throws him out of the room and we go back to this art exhibit, Michael and the Hot Doctor. Everybody seems to like the Hot Doctor. Billy says he's great. And Michael says that they're taking it slow. They haven't hooked up yet. Stanley, of course, is over this art show, right? It's so important that he sells this art. Well, the big collector he was counting on walks in and says, I'm an art collector. This is not art. This is porn, and completely freaks out over this collection. Well, Billy steps up and is like trying to help out Stanley and says, I love this art. I'll buy some, which prompts other people to say, I love it too. I have to have this. And then, it all works out for Billy. Meanwhile, Michael and his hot doctor, the sparks are flying. They end up back at, again, is this Michael's place, hot doctor's place? I don't know. I think it's hot doctor's place. Oh, yes, it is, because something really funny happens here. So they're going in for the hookup, and turns out hot doctor is very well endowed. And so Michael is freaked out, not sure how to handle the very well endowed. Anyway, long story short, Hot Doctor's like, yeah, I know, it's huge. All I can think of was the Sex and the City episode. Forgive me if you don't watch it, but if you do, you know what I'm talking about. Samantha dates the really huge guy, and yeah, she keeps trying to make it her mission to make it work, but it won't work. So kind of the same situation. He's trying to make it work, it won't work. So the Hot Doctor, again, forgive me, this is just what it says in the show, basically pulls out a shot and offers to Botox his beehole to get it to relax and to let things happen more loosely. So he freaks out. Michael freaks out. He's like, no, you're not going to Botox that area. And he says, how long would I walk around with an a-hole like a loose turtleneck? Oh my God, you guys, I can't believe I'm saying these things, but you get the idea. Okay, Michael freaks out, says he can't do it. He wants to just be past this, past the dating, past the sadness, just be over it. Like he's really having a breakthrough here saying, I don't want to do this. I'm not ready. It's not time. Meanwhile, Hot Doctor is just so busy trying to get it in. He's just saying like, how about just the tip? So I guess that's the end of that relationship. So from there, he's on the phone with his dad, and Dad's wanting to know why it didn't work out with Hot Doctor. Michael says, well, it just wasn't a good fit. Meanwhile, Suzanne talks about her son and the need to find him his own place, because that's maybe what's standing in the way of her going out and finding a relationship. So, Michael basically says everything sucks right now. Like the guru, or what was it, the healer stuff is wearing off. He's starting to feel it again, the pain, and navigating through all this. He mentions his neighbor who leaves Post-it notes on his door asking for drinks and how he's been ignoring him. He doesn't want to become that guy. It's an older gentleman that lives in his building. We saw him before. His name's Jack. Anyway, well, after this, he's walking home, and who does he run into? But Jack. Jack is like the sweetest guy, right? He's reminiscing. We find out he lost his partner 23 years ago, and he was explaining that it'll get easier for Michael, and you have your whole life ahead of you. You're young, you can do this, and really kind of puts things in a nice perspective for Michael. And he's reminiscing, and turns out he wants to move to Miami. He actually wants to sell his place. He's looking to get about $2.2 million. Michael has a really nice moment where he actually listens to Jack and kind of relates to him and says, hey, how about we go up to your place? You can show me around. I can see the view, and we can talk prices for your apartment. So a nice friendship kind of developing there, maybe curing each other's loneliness, being able to relate to each other, that sort of thing. And the episode ends with Michael kind of looking not at the camera, but toward the camera and giving a smile. Like he's, I don't know, I don't want to sound corny, not getting his groove back, but you know what I mean? Like finding his way again, finding happiness and things, and, getting to know people, and maybe cutting some of the bullshit from his past. I don't know. But again, a great episode. Dying to see where this goes. I'm really enjoying the series. I think it just got a lot of things right, and I really am enjoying it. I'm trying not to read reviews because I want to give y'all my honest, listen to me, I'm so Southern, y'all. I want to give you guys my honest feedback, and I don't want it to be tainted by reviews, because sometimes that can happen. I did accidentally see a review when I Googled this show, and it sounds like some people really like it. Some people are hating on it, saying it's too much misery. I don't find that. I actually find it very realistic. I mean, it's something that people go through, and again, it did what I think in Just Like That was trying to do this and severely failed and fell on its face. It just handed misery after misery, but I don't find that with this show. This show, I don't know. I mean, at its core, it seems to be just funny, but also things that people actually do go through, and I just relate to this show so much more. I really am enjoying it. I'm excited to see where it goes. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Let me know in the comments if you're still watching, if you're enjoying it, what your thoughts are. Thanks again for watching, guys. Thanks for recommending this. If you have anything else you want to recommend, feel free to leave me comments on that as well. Hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed, all that stuff. You know what to do. Thanks, guys, for everything. Check out my Patreon if you're interested. Patreon.com/Real Housewives Recaps. And have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.